We cannot effectively and efficiently move people along in their spiritual journey, in their spiritual growth, without those process cues that we've built. So no one gets lost in the crowds. No one gets lost in the cracks.
Welcome to Moving Mountains, a podcast where we get to celebrate together the wins that different churches and the church as a whole have experienced. I'm Pam Flannery, and each month I get the amazing opportunity to talk with church leaders from all over the country, hearing the innovative and creative ways they're reaching their communities through the struggles and the wins in their ministry. Our hope is that you'll leave each episode with fresh ideas for your ministry, as well as the tools to put that plan into action so that you can impact your community further. Let's move mountains. Hi, my name is Pam Flannery. I lead our customer communities at PushPay. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to an incredible leader, Randy Deal with Rock Point Church in Queen Creek, Arizona. Randy, welcome. It is such an honor to have you as our guest today. I know our audience is going to thoroughly enjoy getting to know you, gleaning wisdom from you, and I'm sure they're going to enjoy your fun sense of humor as well, like I always do when we connect. Please tell us about yourself, your family, ministry journey, and what you do at Rock Point Church.
Thank you, Pam. I'm humbled and honored to be on with you today. I am 60 years old, going on 30 years old, at least in my head and heart. Been married to my beautiful wife for almost 34 years. We have 5 adult children, 3 are married, 1 is engaged, so another wedding coming up this summer. We have 6 grandchildren that rule our world. They have absolutely stolen our hearts and they're not giving them back. And we are so good with that. So we are originally from California, my wife and I and our family. We moved here to Arizona with 4 other families in June of 2001 to start Rock Point Church. I was its founding executive pastor. In fact, the day we moved here, it was 121 degrees that day. So my wife thought I brought her to hell. But anyway, we started a neighborhood Bible study on Sunday night, August 26, 2001. I'll never forget it. It quickly grew and grew and grew. By the end of that first year, there were over 150 people coming to this future church here in Queen Creek. We grand opened Rock Point Church on February 10th, 2002 with 333 people. And Rock Point has continued to grow. We're now averaging over 7,000 on a weekly here. 12,000 active people call Rock Point Church their home church. We have led to Christ and baptized just thousands of people every year. It is so awesome, so exciting. As Pastor Bill, our lead pastor, always says, from the very beginning, we asked God, always give us a front row seat to what you're doing. And he has absolutely done that here in the East Valley. And so we're so grateful. Now I'm on a team of executive pastors, what we call our lead team. And so currently I oversee our church management system, PushPay, as well as all of our adult ministries. I oversee church communications, global outreach, facilities, and safety and security. Those are my departments. They call me Rev Doc around here. I've been a pharmacist, which was my first doctorate, for 38 years. And I've been in ministry, my second doctorate, for 25 years. And so I guess that makes me a paradox. But anyway, yeah, thank you again for asking me to be on with you today.
Oh, it's so fun to be with you. And I noticed that you guys have 5 services now. Is it 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday?
That starts this coming weekend. Yeah, we had to add a 3rd service on Sunday.
I just love the growth that you guys have. And I know it's because of your heart towards people. I just love it. One of the things that I noticed that you guys have said, which I love the front row seat. I'm going to steal that, by the way. I'm going to use that. I want to be on the front row seat of what God's doing. I absolutely love that. Rock Point Church, I've heard you guys say that you love people. Say that phrase. It's about people loving Jesus, loving like Jesus.
Our mission statement here at Rock Point is we point people to Jesus by loving them like Jesus.
Yes.
And we do that in so many ways. Like our definition here of a fully engaged follower of Christ is one who knows, grows, and goes. And so for us, that is, they know Jesus personally, they grow in biblical community, and they go live intentionally. And so all of our ministries funnel under that. So we create environments so that they can know, so they can grow, and they can go. And so, for example, our no environments, we would say, are our weekend worship services, going to 5 this coming weekend, our middle school youth services on Wednesday nights, our young adult service on Thursday nights, Celebrate Recovery is on Friday nights, and high school youth meets on Sunday nights. And there's men's ministry and women's ministry and our amazing special needs ministry that happens on the weekends now too. And so those are sort of the no environments. Grow environments would be things like home groups and small groups and care groups and support groups, Celebrate Recovery, and all the amazing classes. We just launched our first semester of classes Monday night, 2 nights ago. And we do 3 semesters a year, and over 2,000 people taking classes and learning Bible and being in community with one another. So amazing. And then our go environments, we would consider that's our local outreach right here in Queen Creek, Gilbert, Santan Valley area. When Pastor Bill and I started this church, we said from the beginning, our outreach efforts are going to be where God lands us. And so because he landed us here, when we bought this 50 acres of raw desert, had never been touched. It's like God had set it aside from the beginning of time for us, that we were going to change this community. So we're not a church that we don't sponsor a bunch of missionaries. We don't do a lot of stuff. We do have some global outreach initiatives, but all of our local outreach is right here in the Queen Creek, Southeast Valley area. We have our global outreach. We only do 2 things really. We are in the UK, where we work with AT3 and helping to develop pastors and leaders. And then our biggest thing is Vision Africa, where we're church planting also in Zambia and in Kenya. And then our greatest gift that God has given us local outreach wise is Castile High School, which you and I have talked about before. They built it right next to us. In fact, that piece of land on the corner there is what we wanted first, but we weren't able to get it. But God knew, because then Chandler Unified built Castile High School there. It's a huge, thousands of students high school. It's 6th through 12th. We actually have staff members that their job is to take care of Castile High School and all the students. And so our campus is open for after school hangs. Hundreds of students come, flood our patio in Rock Point Coffee Co. every weekday when school gets out, and then parents pick them up from our side. It's super awesome. And so those are our go environments as well.
Randy, what would our country look like if every church adopted, because you've really adopted this high school. These kids come here, these youth come here, they're safe, they're in a loving environment. I want to tell us a story about one of those youth that, because you've made your doors open and to hire staff for this. When you first told me that, I'm not going to lie, my eyes just leaked because my heart was just full, because I know that our youth face so much today. So as they come into your church after school or however that looks, tell our audience and myself, I want to hear. And one of the stories that just profoundly tugged at your heart, like, wow, we are making a difference. Because I know this takes a lot of volunteers. It takes staff. It takes money. This is not something that you took lightly. I'm sure you looked at there's a security risk there, right? There's so much to this. What made you guys say we're doing this? And what was the story that really made an impact?
There's so many other churches in our network of churches that have schools next door or behind them or whatever, and are just missing a huge opportunity. So when they built Castile High School next door to us, we're like, there's our mission field. Like, God brought it right to us. In fact, the original plans that Chandler Unified School District put out for how they were going to outlay that campus, we started talking to them in the very beginning phases. They flipped their whole campus, changed their master plan so that their parking and our parking were only right across a little side street together so that we could share. We have a director, a youth outreach director. That's his whole job, is to minister to those kids. We also started our own seminary. There's a group that does seminaries near high schools in Arizona. And we thought, well, why can't we do that? And so about 5 or 6 years ago, we started our own seminary where these students, they have to take a 0-hour class. So like before the sun comes up, so that at either 3rd hour or 5th hour, they can walk across the street, come over here. We have a full-time youth seminary director who they're learning the Bible, the New Testament, the Old Testament, the gospel, and then they do outreach projects and just all of that. And so the life change that has come out of those seminary students is amazing. There's so many stories of just the high school students that come over and plague our campus for a couple hours every day. I mean, there was one time I remember last year where they're in the lobby, they're in the patio, and some students had moved the little centerpiece that was on the table, a little fake succulent or whatever, and they carved a pentagram in the table, and then they put the little plant back over it and thought nobody saw, right? So we have cameras everywhere. And so we saw it, went over there. And, there's some people that were like, oh my gosh, why are we letting them over here? I'm like, no, this is exactly the kids we need to minister to. We got on the video surveillance, found out, because our youth seminary director knows all these kids now, several hundred of them by first name. We found them, we were able to minister to them. Now they're involved in the youth group and all that kind of stuff, and have found the Lord. I mean, it's just been amazing. And so, yes, do they tear things up? Yes. Do we have to drag kids out of the bathroom sometimes? Yes. Have things gotten broken? Yes. Have we had to break up fights or whatever? But it's the world, it's the lost, it's these kids that are far from God. They're walking onto our campus. And so we're doing everything we can to show them the love of Christ and reach them for Christ. We just launched another amazing program where we found out there are way too many pregnant girls going to that high school. And so there's this whole thing that our local outreach team, I can't even think of the name of it. It's something Grace, where now we're ministering to them and getting them into these support groups and hopefully guiding them down a pathway where they will keep the baby, connect them with if they can't keep the baby, connect them with our foster adopt ministry and save these lives. And so many stories. Yeah, so many stories.
Randy, you guys have everything for everyone at your church. When I visited, I was like, I want to move here. And it's just, I don't know, you can feel just the love of God when you come onto that campus, and just around all of you all have such a heart. Love what you guys are doing, and I love the impact that you're making. You obviously have to put some type of process in place in order to do all the ministries that you do so that your teams can be effective. Tell us about some of those processes, because I know you have that executive pastor mind and you keep things in order and you've got processes. I'd love to hear how you help people get connected and how they stay connected.
Absolutely. I'm a systems guy. And so I'm one of those rare guys who's left-brained and right-brained. And so for any church or organization that's in the people business, of course, like we are, and every church should be, you have to have excellent and efficient church management systems. I mean, it's a must, especially in this 21st century that we're living in and trying to reach this next generation who that's where they are, is on their tech. And so, I mean, we love everything about PushPay, but the one, and we were an original customer way, way back. We left for a minute, bad decision. We've been back since about 2015. But the one feature with PushPay that stands out is the process queues.
Yes.
Like, honestly, we cannot effectively and efficiently move people along in their spiritual journey, in their spiritual growth, without those process cues that we've built. So no one gets lost in the crowds. No one gets lost in the cracks. We can see any individual where they are as they go through what we call our next steps process. And we can intentionally move them along, internal invites and mail merges and all of that, and to make sure they're taking their next step. I've learned as a pastor over a couple decades that, it's the reason Scripture calls us sheep, right? We need a shepherd. We're followers. If you just tell people what step to take, we find they take it. And so for us, like your first big step, if you've been coming to Rock Point, is we call it We Are Rock Point. It's a huge event. It's always taught by Pastor Bill and his wife, Carrie. And you hear the history of Rock Point and where we are now and where we're headed. And we feed you dinner, we provide childcare and all that stuff. And that's sort of step one. But then we found a few years ago that sometimes that's a big step for people to take. Because, now in this, where we're at now, people are coming onto our campus. They have no church context at all.
That's good.
We're way past the years of, I went to church as a kid. Now I'm coming back. I got married, had kids. Those days are gone. These people they have no context at all. And so we found it was a big step for them to take. And so a few years ago, now it's been 4 or 5 years ago, we started what we call Newcomers Dinner. It's sort of the half step. That is just an event we put on. You sign up for it. You get put into a queue and you get all the details. And that is just you come, there's no agenda. It's hang out. We play this awesome game at the tables. People meet each other. We feed everybody. We provide childcare. And the win is you get the vibe of Rock Point. Like you get the culture of Rock Point. And then if you've completed Newcomers Dinner, you're automatically moved into, okay, now you get invited to We Are Rock Point. If you've done We Are Rock Point, you get invited to what we call our sneak peek volunteer tour. We feel like most people will get in community first by just getting on Team Rock Point before they end up in somebody's home in a group. And then once you've completed Team Rock Point, you've picked the ministry that you want to try first in volunteering, then you would get invited to what we call membership dessert. It's funny, we start with dinner, end with dessert. So it's all about the food, apparently.
Of course.
In our Baptistic roots. And so, but without the process cues with Pushpay, like it would be a nightmare to really move these people along and not lose anybody in the process. And then from there, we get people moved into groups and classes for the grow part, right? For the biblical community part. And so it's a must.
I agree. I think, I was in ministry before and I had hundreds of volunteers that I, recruited, whatever you want to call it. I actually just, they were the right fit in the right place. And so I don't know. I started ministry without a church management software because there wasn't one back then. And then when we came on with Pushpay, I was like, how did I ever do effective ministry without process cues? Once you get those set up, they're a machine, they run and they keep you effective. So I'm so glad that y'all are using those because they are powerful. It's one of my favorite tools. That and Needs, I love both of them. But process is just, to me, it's gold. I've always said that our processes are gold, and I feel bad for churches that actually don't use them. I don't know.
They're platinum, Pam. They're
platinum. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. There's a myth that the church is notorious for lagging when it comes to embracing technology. But the results of Pushpay's latest State of Church Technology research busts that age-old myth and reveals quite the opposite. Check out the 2023 report to see what church tech leaders like yourself consider important now, strategic in the future, and so much more. Follow the link in the description below to download your own copy. So tell me, how has technology helped Rock Point Church close that back door when you have guests? Obviously, you have a ton of guests that come, and I feel like they connect really well and they become part of your church family. How is that back door closed?
We used to say street to seat, right? Like street to seat, right? And it's not that anymore. Now it's phone to fully engaged follower, right? So they've checked us out online. Right. They've checked out rockpointchurch.com or our app or something like that. They've went to our YouTube channel. They've been watching some sermons already. We hear this all the time. Then they show up on campus. And so the guest engagement, once they land here, we have new here, park here. We have special parking spots. You're new, you park here. We train our greeters that are at new here, start here to watch for that. They know if someone parks on that spot, they're right there welcoming it. And we take you to an area under our patio called New Here, Start Here. If you have kids, that's where you check them in right then. So right away, the iPads are there. They're immediately entered into Pushpay. And then we walk them, check them, their kids, all of that. If you don't have kids, then, we have hosts that will, hey, this is where the worship center is. This is where the bathrooms are. This is Rock Point Coffee Co. And hey, after service, we're going to be right out here. If you have any questions, come out there. When you're in the service on our video announcements as a guest, you hear about, if you're a guest today, we'd love to meet you. We have a gift for you. Please go to New Here, Start Here out on the patio. If you've been already coming here, that kind of thing, and you're just trying to find your next best step, then join us at Connect Here, also on the patio. And those two areas are side by side. And so they'll hear about that before service or after service. And then once a guest has self-identified in that way, then they're put right into Pushpay, and then the process starts. You get invited to Newcomers Dinner, and then We Are Rock Point, and then the tour to get on the team, and then membership dessert, groups, classes, all of that, so that you're knowing, growing, and going. And then we can pull up, of course, we do quarterly reports to look at, hey, these are all the guests that identified with us in the month of January, for example. Where are they now in June? And what steps have they taken or not taken? What can we invite them to, and things like that. And so, because there's the thing you do in a service or on your social media or on your website or your app where you're promoting these kinds of events, these steps, and waiting for people to register and sign up. But what the process cues do and what Pushpay does for us is we can intentionally invite them because we know they've been here. we know what step they've taken and what step they need to invite it to next. So we couldn't do it without technology. There's just no way.
No, I agree with you. And you guys are doing so much. With doing so much in the community. And like you said, all these meals that you prepare, adopting your high school, all the outreaches that you do. And I know there's a lot more, even Celebrate Recovery. There's cost to all this. So do you guys set up giving campaigns? And if so, how effective are they?
Absolutely. And very effective. I would say because we've already established from day one a culture of generosity at Rock Point. Since we grand opened 21 years ago, I think we've done 7 or 8, maybe 10 generosity initiatives, campaigns. Our first one was called Take the Land because we were just buying land. And then we did one called Upon This Rock because we were going to build, and then we're going to build again. It was called He Builds. And then we did a campaign once called Chairs because we built the building, but we had no money to outfit it, things like that. Our 2-year, what we called our Courage campaign, went from 2018 to 2020, was to build our new 54,000 square foot worship center, Rock Point Coffee Co., the kids wing, 9,000 square foot patio out front. We put the backyard in the front yard. So we have a huge open 9,000 square foot patio out front, a huge lawn area in front of that, a grove. We call it the Grove, which is trees and our baptismal pool. And of course, we were supposed to grand open that in April 2020, but then, COVID. So that was delayed a little bit. We regathered because of restrictions that we agreed to follow by our governor. We regathered those 2 weekends in June. We had 83% of the people come back, which was unheard of amongst churches. And I think people were just dying for community. And so it was amazing. And we've grown over doubled since then. And so that was our Courage campaign. And then we're already out of space. 2 years in, we're already out of space. So our current campaign that we just launched last year is called the We Are Rock Point campaign. And we only do 2-year campaigns. It just started last year. It'll end in 2024. And that is to build a third building now. I think it's about a 30,000 square foot kids building. And so it's all about kids ministry and reaching the next generation and all of that. We raised 18 million for the worship center and all of that. We have all these new people coming now. Is it time? Could we do a campaign? Would it be successful? And we launched the We Are Rock Point campaign. We only needed to raise about 8 million, and we're already on track. 100% will come in. We're a church planting church, right? And with Vision Arizona, our church planting network with Converge Southwest of Converge National, he was saying like, man, I'll be so glad when I don't have to fundraise anymore. I'm like, dude, you're going to fundraise till Jesus comes. So
that's true. If you're growing, you will.
If you're growing, yeah. But it's establishing that culture of generosity from the get-go. So it's not, we have to do another campaign. I think people are like, hey, what's next?
It must be easy for your congregation to give through these campaigns. We visited churches and I can tell when they have push pay because I'm like, that was so easy to give. I mean, just like boom, boom. And I gave. And so it has to be easy for your congregation to give. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Very easy. It has to be, right?
It does.
People now, if you have to click or tap your phone more than a couple of times, you're probably not going to do it. And so, enter to the stage, push pay. I mean, over 90% of our giving is online through push pay.
That's great.
We do not pass an offering plate at Rock Point. We never have. Our video announcements, everything that whatever's online, any of our media says, hey, go to rockpoint.io, which is our digital bulletin. If you're in the service, it's a website, and click on the Give tab. When you do that, it says Give with PushPay, and you click the button. And we always say to set up your recurring financial gift, right? So that's always in the messaging.
Yeah. Reoccurring is powerful, isn't it?
Yes.
You set it and it's done.
Done.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can give via rockpoint.io on the Give tab. Of course, you can go to rockpointchurch.com/give. You can give right from our app, our PushPay app, which is amazing. And so, but it's all online. And again, because of that, when we went through the pandemic where we couldn't meet physically together, our giving never suffered.
That's amazing.
Never.
That's amazing.
Because everybody was doing it like they always had. You want to have that culture where I don't have to be present to give my tithes and offerings.
That's powerful. And you continue to grow because you had that campaign going.
Yes.
That's fabulous. So tell me this. You said that you guys have created a culture of giving. What does that look like? How do you create a culture of giving?
We're not the church that will at the beginning of every year have a generosity sermon series, right? So that people will give or whatever. We talk about generosity with your time, talent, treasure, and testimony all the time. Every sermon series, multiple times. If people say, oh yeah, you saw you talk about his money. No, we talk about generosity with your time, your talent, your treasure, and your testimony. And the whole thing about it's all online. There are giving boxes that we have like by the exits of the worship center, and there's a couple in the lobby that are used by some. There's still some check writers out there. That's okay. And some people that give with cash, and that's okay. We have envelopes, we don't use many of them, but and just with all the campaigns we've done over and over, because we're growing and people get excited about it. And people don't give to need, they give to vision. And so Bill's an amazing vision caster. And so it's just been that way from day one. And then if you as you go through our next steps process where we're discipling you, like at We Are Rock Point, you're going to hear that. If you're going to make Rock Point Church your home, this is what Rock Pointers do. 1, they tithe. 2, they give above and beyond the tithe. 3, they give online. 4, they park in the furthest away spot on the lot to free up the other, all these things. You're going to download our app and, those kinds of things. Like this is what Rock Pointers do. And so it's worked.
I feel like it's a culture of honor.
Yeah.
You've created a culture of honor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really good. You talked about the app a minute ago, and you said that you use the app. What do you have on your app besides giving?
Well, like if you go to our homepage of our app, it has all the basic stuff there where you do sermon notes right at the top. The We Are Rock Point campaign is the next window. Next Steps is the next window. Adults and Family Ministries is the next one. The whole church is reading through the Bible in the chronological order this whole year. And so our reading plan is there. Rock Point Coffee Co., you could order online right from there. And then there's a prayer request. And then our menu buttons at the bottom are events, sermons, connect, and give. And so give is right there, which of course goes directly to the PushPay portal, which I love that we're able to brand that so it looks like us.
Sure. I love the custom app because it does. Yeah. It has your brand. It looks great. And whenever I visit churches, I tend to download their app after just to, hear their sermons and see what they have going on. And I'm like,
yes,
and I heard just this week, I spoke with someone and she said, I've never created an app in my life. I'm not even techie. And I created a custom PushPay app and you guys walked me through the steps. It was so easy. Like it built her confidence to a place, I think, where she's even doing more with that. And she's on it every week, updating. She loves it. And I keep hearing that from so many of our church customers. They're like, it's such a powerful tool. So what do we do without all that stuff before? I don't know.
I mean, we look at rockpointchurch.com. Our website has a certain audience. That's the person who's never been here before. They're checking us out. In fact, we're minimalizing that whole website now. The next thing is rockpoint.io, which is just a website. That's more like a digital bulletin, like you're sitting in the service. What would have been on a paper bulletin is right there, like the sermon notes, the announcements that were said, giving, and all of that. And then the app. And so the app is, you're going to start you hear about the app in the service and on, but We Are Rock Point and those kinds of things. If you're a Rock Pointer, you're going to download the app and do everything from the app.
That's fabulous.
Love it.
I love it. So what would you say, Randy, to pastors and ministry leaders who might be resistant or hesitant towards technology in the church? Love for you to share your thoughts.
Resistant to technology. That baffles my mind.
Mine as well.
That is where people are.
Yes.
The very people far from God that we are trying to reach, that's where they are. And that's who we're trying to reach. If people can't connect with you or your church right from their mobile device, their phone, way before they ever walk on your campus or walk through your doors, you're missing out on your current mission field. You absolutely are. We only have one message. That's the gospel of Jesus. That's the good news of Jesus Christ. And in this, as I said earlier, this 21st century that we're in, and most critically, trying to reach this next generation behind us who are going to carry on this mission, technology is their absolutely best tool to point people to Jesus by loving them like Jesus. Again, it's where they are. And so I say this all the time, and I train other churches in this, in guest services and next steps and things like that. Look, company's coming. The Holy Spirit is working. God is pursuing everyone. He would like for everyone to choose him. And so if if the Holy Spirit's out there working and he's drawing people unto himself, they're coming. So one, are you expecting them? Because if you are, then you would do things a certain way. And two, are you ready for them? Because if you are, you would do things a certain way, and there would be outsider language, not insider language, and all those things. And so it's where people are. It's why social media is so important for churches right now.
Yes.
That's where people are.
They are.
That's where people are.
Yeah.
And they're going to be there first, and they need to see the real you before they ever step on campus.
That's very true. I hear people all the time say, I'll check them out online before I'll go.
Of course.
My Sunday's too valuable. My time's too valuable. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. So any final thoughts, Randy, that you'd like to share with pastors and leaders about anything? You guys are definitely making an impact. And I really do hope that this podcast inspires pastors and leaders to step out in faith like you guys have from day one, and to really seek the Holy Spirit to say, why are we here? What's our purpose here? Like you said, God brought the high school to you guys. So what is he bringing in around churches or in their community where people can step out and say, okay, we need to be the hands and feet of Jesus here? What would you say, or any final thoughts?
I would just say, again, thank you, Pam, for this opportunity to share. My prayer is that this would be helpful to the listeners. I mean, we here at Rock Point, we are always eager to help other churches, and we do. There's many other churches in our network, not in our network, in Arizona, not in Arizona, that we help with PushPay and getting things set up. We've always continued to do that. We're Team Rock Point, but we also feel like we're Team Jesus, right? And so, again, PushPay isn't paying me to say this, but I absolutely believe we couldn't do this without technology like that. We can't. We're in the people business. PushPay is not a database. It is not a giving platform. It is a discipleship system, is what it is. And so, and that's all we're here to do, is to reach people for Christ and then grow them up.
It's powerful. Thank you. We're so thankful to have you as one of our customers. I hate even to use the word customer because we feel like we're more partners with you. We're so thankful for you and for what you're doing in Arizona. I have friends that we kind of befriended at our church that are moving back to Arizona to be with their community. They want to get out of the Colorado cold, and I do not blame them.
Right.
So I already told them about your church. I said, you have to go visit. This is such a great church.
Oh, awesome.
I know that they'll love it there. So I think it's close enough. I'm going to meet with them before they leave again and just get the address and everything to them. So thank you for just years of our relationship together with you guys. And we appreciate you and everything that you're doing. And we're thankful for you.
Thank you. Likewise.
This has been PushPay's Moving Mountain podcast, real talk from church leaders about overcoming challenges and growing their ministries. If you'd like to learn more about ChurchStack or any of the features mentioned in our podcast, visit us at pushpay.com. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get notified whenever a new episode comes out. You don't want to miss out on any of these great conversations with amazing people. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.